And so it all comes down to this: Bruce Wayne's long and winding road of training. Will he take the demon's head's devil's deal, or will he become something much more? Well, let's hop into the pages of Batman the Knight, issue number 10, the grand finale of this Chip Zdarsky series, and find out together, shall we? Well, now isn't this something? It took 10 whole issues, but as the comic opens up, we're actually treated to a flashback to the night the Waynes were murdered. Yeah, you didn't think you were gonna skip a Batman origin story where we didn't see the Waynes die, now did ya? As Bruce mentions with his mother's dying words, she said that she loved him, but that he was in too much of hysterics to actually end up saying it back, a choice that haunts him still to this day. Bruce also says it was at that very moment the tune in the song of his life began to change into a much darker, more minor key that has been playing ever since. But that it's only right here, right now, in this final battle with Anton, his friend turned enemy, to decide who will become the new right hand of Ra's al Ghul. Bruce has decided that he wants to take the bull by the horns and finally change the song of his life. He wants to start playing his own songs, not just the songs put out for him by tragedy or by his revolving door of masters. Anton, the man who would be Ghostmaker, was so certain that he would win this battle to the death because, well, he is a killer himself. He has the killer instinct, the one thing that Bruce never actually managed to learn on his long journey of self-mastery. Only here's the thing, though, as Bruce proudly proclaims, he never had to learn how to kill. Because honestly, a killer instinct is the only thing that Anton has going for him. He has nothing else. He's empty, dead, and hollow inside. While Bruce, on the other hand, is filled with everything: anger and joy, chaos and peace. To be a true master of everything, Bruce had to allow himself to be able to feel everything all at once, and indeed, Bruce ends up winning this fight against Anton, not by killing him, but by simply choking him out. Surprisingly, Ra's is actually quite pleased with this turn of events, saying that Bruce is everything he needed at his side, not just a strong right hand for the demon, but a true demon's heart for his organization. And with that, Bruce is finally ready to throw himself 100% mind, body, and soul into Ra's grand new works in reshaping the world with his ecologically miraculous Lazarus cities, or at least that's what he thinks he's going to do. You see, Bruce ends up being kind of withdrawn after the battle with Anton, choosing to not stay in the city, but instead in the catacombs underneath. A system of caves that look very similar to the Batcave, huh? In fact, in Bruce's internal monologue, he says that he learned to love and embrace the chaos of the stones instead of the cold, mechanical precision of the advanced Lazarus City. He also dons a costume of knight's armor that looks very similar to the costume that he'll eventually end up choosing for himself when he fully and truly becomes Batman, though I love this little prototype. Bruce also has a little one-on-one with Talia. The two had feelings with each other in the previous issue, but Bruce isn't stupid and understands that for Talia, this really is an uncomfortable situation. She loves Bruce, but at the same time, she resents him for taking the job at her father's side that she so clearly always wanted. And Bruce knows, even though it's quite cruel, he's going to have to play on those emotions for what he has planned to do next. You see, here's the thing: now that Ra's feels like he can truly, fully trust Bruce, he opens up to him about the plan with the missiles that Anton had uncovered at the end of the previous issue. Essentially, Ra's says in order to make a better, greener, more peaceful, and prosperous world, they're going to need to tear down the old world. After all, Ra's has lived long enough and seen enough of the world to know that you can't simply give people peace, you need to force it on them. And that with the world the way it is now, so corrupt with corporations and greed running amok and bleeding into every single facet of human life, that the only way to save the world with the brand new Lazarus cities is to completely wipe the slate clean of the cult of consumerism. Only, as we've seen time and time again with Bruce, he's not okay with any course of action that would lead to loss of life. In fact, Anton, when he was getting choked out, revealed the whole missile plot to Bruce, meaning that while under shadow of night, during the time that Ra's and his followers were sleeping, Bruce worked to sabotage the missile program. Obviously, Ra's is furious that someone he could put so much faith in would betray him. Furthermore, he says that Bruce is crazy if he thinks one human being could ever actually stem the tide of villainy and evil. Bruce fires back by saying that Ra's was never maybe the altruist that he claimed to be, that once you start getting followers, lackeys, and henchmen, you stop being but a single man and start viewing yourself as a god. Obviously, Ra's is a tough battle, but as Bruce says, while he is master of ancient knowledge, he is not nearly as singularly focused as Bruce is. After all, Bruce is great at everything thing now. He's transcended being just a man. He's become, well, something else, if you couldn't tell, what with this awesome image of him hanging from the ceiling. Raish is defeated, but the fight ultimately doesn't really end until Talia makes the scene, literally stabbing her former lover in the back because, well, even though Bruce may have gained the title of Demon's Heart, that title really always truly belonged to Talia. In the end, Bruce is ultimately saved from the burning Lazarus City by Anton himself. Yeah, that's right, Ghostmaker returned, maybe because deep down they really were friends, or maybe because it's just no fun if Bruce dies in the here and now, and why yes, they even do a little bit more continuity connection to the original Ghostmaker story, with Bruce telling Ghostmaker never to set foot in Gotham, and Ghostmaker essentially claiming that he is going to be the next great vigilante to put Batman to shame. With Raish finally defeated, it means that Batman can finally face the final test in his great training journey, and that is of course the long-awaited return home. Bruce says that all of Gotham could reject him tomorrow, but that he would still go out of his way and sacrifice everything if it meant saving the city, but what Bruce could never handle is if Alfred ended up turning him away. Of course, that's not the case at all. Despite everything that happened, Alfred welcomes him back with open arms. The two talk of everything that Bruce has seen and done since leaving home, and they even mention that Dana, Bruce's high school girlfriend, moved to Metropolis where she took a job at a little startup called LexCorp. Oh, if that ain't some sort of sequel hook, then I do not know what is. The conversation about Dana actually does make Bruce think to himself as he sits alone at night in his fancy rich boy silk sheets. Gotham has gotten even worse since he left. Dana always thought Bruce could be doing more for the city. Ra's al Ghul thought that he could do more for the world, but maybe Bruce will end up doing something more as well. Not by going bigger like everyone seems to think he will, no, but by going deeper, by digging into the very earth itself, and what he finds there, oh well, I think we all know what he finds there. And so that was Batman the Night issue number 10, everybody, the stellar conclusion to Chip Zdarsky's brand new Batman origin series, which, you know what, I'm gonna come out and say it, this is the best modern interpretation of the Batman origin. Zdarsky remixes and remasters so much great Batman continuity while also putting his own stamp on it and telling a really wonderful 3-act story of self-discovery, self-mastery, and oh so much more. What's very interesting too is that I think this story actually fits very nicely with other Batman stories like Batman Year One, because we never actually do see him put on the costume at the end. In fact, the whole bat flying through the window is on the cover of this issue, but doesn't actually take place in the story. Hell, there's also plenty of room left, what with Ghostmaker and Ra's al Ghul and everything else. I wouldn't be shocked at all if in a couple years Chip Zdarsky comes back with The Night 2. Overall though, if you couldn't tell, I was positively in love with this one since issue 1. I don't know if we need any more Batman stories in our lives right now. I certainly didn't think we needed another Batman origin story, but leave it to Chip Zdarsky to absolutely smash it out of the park. This one is an easy shoo-in contender for one of my top 10 best comic books of the year. If you have not been reading it, most definitely check this one out. You will not be disappointed.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.